What is the worst thing you've overheard while pretending to be asleep? In COLLEGE*WOKE up to roommate's bed creaking, I shoot up to see what the hell is going on. There I see some woman on her back with her legs full spread eagle and my roommate just pile driving it like it was his last day on earth. Like a good bro I quickly lie back down and pretend to be asleep pointer. I in between gasps of air is your roommate awake? Him, nor he sleeps through anything. Cut to next morning point I casually get up and turn on my PlayStation 2 and start playing some random game. Roommate's fling gets up and casually comes over and sits next to me pointer. Good morning my name me. Good morning HER name her. Did you sleep good last night? Me. Yeah, I can sleep through anything. As the last word left my mouth I immediately realize I blew it. She began a huge flurry of slaps at my roommate while cursing at him. He didn't care because he was too busy laughing the whole time. Something like she's too old for this. I'm not going to carry her up to bed anymore, and that was the last time I was magically transported from the living room couch to my bedroom. Old roommate's planning to kick me out. I was a camp counselor. Two girls very much like to make hot or not lists. One of them suggested a male counselor was hot, and the other said he was saying mean things about me behind my back, which made him not hot. Hurt to hear that from my campers, but glad they supported me. My mom on a payphone, begging her boyfriend for more heroin. Edit. My mom was driving around town late at night, probably trying to score, and I was sleeping in the passenger seat. She stopped at a parking lot. I woke up and pretended to be asleep. This was back when payphones were in convenience store parking lots everywhere, mid-90s. My mom having an affair with her fiance's best friend, who was married, in the same room that I was sleeping in. I was like 10 years old. Don't feel too bad. My mom banged some random guy on my bottom bunk while I was on the top bunk. I was probably 8 or 9 at the time. I'm talking loud, vocal, crazy sex. Looking back I assume she was either wasted or just didn't give a poop. Can't ask her now because I haven't seen her since I was around 12 to 13. Anyway, just thought I'd share that I was dying with meningitis, but jokes on the doctors, I'm still kicking. My family was staying at a friend's house and had to share a room. My dad comes to bed hammered and says to my mum something along the lines of, does it impress you that I'm this drunk and can still perform? I actually wanted to die. No wonder people at school think he's gay. My stepmom. Are you gay? Nope, but 8-year-old me didn't know that. The person in the bunk under me beating his penis like it owed him money. My mom trying to calm my dad down out of a suicidal fit. My brother and I had been really bad that day, and when he grounded us, we both told him that we hated him and wanted him to go away. He didn't do anything wrong. My brother and I were just a couple of immature little cunts. I'm pretty sure blackout drunk at this point, which I had never seen and still haven't saw since then. Walked into our room that night and I pretended to fall asleep. Then he just started these deep, haunting sobs that I'll probably never forget. He stumbled outside and we could hear him begging my mom to let him die and sobbing. All I've ever wanted in my entire life was to be a better dad than mine. I was only 11 or so, but it fucking destroyed my heart. I think that's the time I learned that emotional pain can actually physically hurt. I was hunched over in my bed bawling my eyes out and on the verge of throwing up. I also felt like an asshole for crying over what we said. My brother was thankfully able to sleep through it all. I think about that once every 2 weeks or so, and I always message him to tell him I love him when I do. I hoped he forgot about it, but being a dad myself now, I don't think it's something you totally forget. It might not hurt like it did in the moment, but I don't think you forget. Like most heartbreaking things, I guess. My parents discussing whether or not I was gay and exploring where they went wrong with raising me. Too many hugs. Before I got divorced, was laying in bed late, 11 AM or so, on my day off, after a long string of I think 10 or so work days in a row. My ex, who refused to get a job, was in the next room playing a video game, and I heard him say that moth-roughing female dog is still sleeping. My friends talking about going into my wallet later and steal my money and then leave before I notice. I kicked them out. My mom and aunt talking, thinking 10-year-old me was asleep. Aunt, little runs underscore and underscore ghosts is so cute. Mom, no, he's not very good looking at all. Parents talking about plans for when they were going to have sex. My sister's soon to be fiance wanking while saying her name. At least he wasn't saying someone else's name. Solid commitment to wank over your partner. Not me, but my wife heard her boyfriend having sex with her best friend. This was obviously long before we met. My sister got drunk, and I heard a loud thud, and she blacked out. Two of her friends and my mom and dad were shouting at each other, and they were saying to shut up cause they didn't want to wake me up, and they were all crying thinking she was dead, and I couldn't tell my sister I was happy she didn't die. Now I appreciate seeing her every week. My dad and stepmom was having a foursome with a couple of their friends. We were at a summer house and they did it in the living room. I felt so uncomfortable eating breakfast the next day. My then stepmom's nephews talking about what they would do to me sexually if given the chance. I was 14, they were 17, 19, and 21. Thankfully the window to the motorhome was slightly open, and my dad heard the entire thing. I was scared of boys for a long time after that. Acted asleep while family were talking amongst themselves about getting me married off to this girl who's educated, but 5 years older than me. I was 15. Then she got married and divorced, and absolutely ragdoll abused. So I actually feel bad about it now. When I was a wee tot, I pretended to be asleep in the family room, so I wouldn't have to actually go to bed, and once my parents were distracted, I could keep watching TV. I then got to hear my dad proposition my mom for couch sex. It's been many years, so I don't remember exactly what he said, but it was something along the lines of hop on pop. Probably the funniest was on a camping trip with the boys. I have sleep apnea and use a CPAP machine. I overheard a couple of my mates talking about smoking a joint and hotboxing me through the air intake of my CPAP machine. On the other side of the coin, a friend of mine also slept with a CPAP. One night, the dog was sleeping right next to the table where the machine was sitting. The dog ripped super noxious fart, which would have been fine / friend would have been safe with a mask on, were it not for the fact that the fart got sucked up through the air intake. Woke him straight up out of a dead sleep, gagging and gasping for clean air. I wasn't pretending to be asleep per se, but I was well on my way. I was under anesthesia and was fading in and out. I remember closing my eyes to help move things along. I was in a lot of pain because my appendix ruptured. This happened years ago, so I can't remember all of the details. Unfortunately, I remember being moved over to an operating table and they told me to take my shirt off. I think I heard someone go, "What do you think would happen if I poked her belly button right now?" I was an outie prior to having an appendectomy. They went through my belly button, so that is no longer the case. Anyway, someone very quickly responded, "Dude, that is not funny. Remember what happened the last time?" It's possible I was starting to dream, but I remember it making me feel a mix of amusement and anxiety. Sleeping over at a friend's house when I was 14. All of us on the floor in living room. Couldn't sleep. Two of my friends, guy and girl, directly next to me start doing freaky things to each other. I was extremely shy and a couple of years younger than them, so I stayed quiet and hoped they'd stop. Had to listen to them for an hour while she made weird ass moaning squeaky noises and he was singing in a weird slightly whispery singy voice Matchbox 20 songs to her while he did whatever he was doing. That was last time I slept over at a friend's house. On a class trip, I heard a girl talk badly about me to the other girls in my room, saying I was a retard and too dumb to stand up for myself. She said the only reason she didn't bully me out of the school was because she needed me to help her with my homework. Then my best friend stood up for me. She said that I wasn't dumb and just a bit shy, and then told her to F off. Well, my friends sucking each other's penis. They were 16. Did you feel left out? I did. My roommate and her friends with benefits having loud, dirty talk sex. I'd just had my wisdom teeth out, and I think they assumed I was passed out on pain meds. My mum's boyfriend sloppily trying to F my mum all drunk as crap whilst we are all sharing the same effing hotel room. I was 13. I wasn't pretending to be asleep so much as they assumed I was asleep. My in-laws thought I was still napping after dropping my kid off at school, and they started to shit talk me. They said I was a terrible mom. I didn't care about my kids at all, and they better buy a cake because I would rather sleep all day than make him a cake. It was his birthday and my god, it was only 10 AM. It doesn't take that long to make and frost a cake for him. Anyways, I cried in my room for 2 hours before they left to buy groceries, i.e. drink themselves into a stupor, before I got up and made the cake and birthday dinner my child asked for. I didn't tell my husband what they said until a week later because I didn't want to ruin his or my child's day. Please like and subscribe. Thanks.